I frequently host games for players who are all across the planet, and I have seen some absolutely atrocious pings. Pings that look like people are playing from Wakanda, the moon, or Atlantis. I can't really make it out. But I've always been curious, how much does ping really impact gameplay? Well, that's what I wanted to test out today with the service I've been using for quite a while. So we're going to go from basically 0 ping to as high as ping as I could possibly give myself, which is in the upwards of 300. And I wanted to talk about some of my results, and it was actually kind of surprising. So first off, I need to establish a baseline. I decided to play Mantis because it's a hero I'm familiar with, and it's a hero that I think not a lot of people are playing right now. 80 ping seems like a good place to start, and that's generally what I'm used to, and that's what I ended up getting. Off the bat, Mantis absolutely was having no troubles with most of the games. I got a little bit of rubber banding here and there when I was interacting with weird geometry, but for the most part, I didn't have a whole lot of issues up until one specific death. Now, I'd been pretty much running the board and having a grand old time. I felt like my aim was more on point than I usually am. I decided to run with the mouse and keyboard this time, but man, this one was absolutely a ping related thing, and I'm actually glad it came up because this is exactly the type of thing that I'm looking for. I got pushed up on by Doctor Strange, and of course, as a Mantis, the first thing you do is sleep, and that's what I tried to do. And I was like a couple milliseconds off. He was just barely able to get out one more shot on me, which was the determinant factor of me dying. Now, maybe this is a reaction issue, but it felt like I had fired before I heard his shot go off, which absolutely means that that tiny fraction of ping was the make or break for this death. Overall, though, it felt fine. I'm actually really glad that I got to see an Iron Man in this lobby, as a moving target that requires a high amount of precision like that is something that I'm interested in testing throughout the rest of these games. So 80 ping is considered loosely average, but let's drop that down further. I've been using this service called Exit Lag for a while. You guys probably have seen sponsorships on this channel for a bit, but I'm genuinely wanting to know whether or not lag was a major factor in here. So I decided to turn it on and was able to drop my lag down to half, which I don't know. After that Doctor Strange kill, I was kind of interested in. Exit Lag basically operates by using a whole bunch of different features, AI routing technology, as well as data centers, diagnostic centers, and so on and so forth to connect you to a better server. And yeah, I'm seeing the results here straight up. It's just better. So my game 2, I felt significantly more in charge. I'm actually surprised I didn't get MVP in this game because I felt like I was running the board. Now, obviously this is still a team-based game. I'm not suddenly going to start just absolutely dominating everybody, but it felt as crisp and as clean as it's ever felt in the game. I'm very used to there being even the slightest bit of delay, and I could feel, it's like difference between going from like the 45 FPS range to the 60 FPS range. You know what I'm talking about if you've been there. It's just, there's the subtlety to it that I can't quite put my finger on, and it just felt good. It felt like I ran the board a little bit more. It felt like I was more in charge of what I wanted to do. So far, it's looking like having less latency absolutely is more helpful. And of course, if you guys want to get your hands on this stuff, obviously this is a sponsorship, but I am thoroughly going to run this through the ringer. If anything I've said so far, if you want less latency and that is interesting to you, check the link in the description below. I'll also leave it in the pinned comments. All right, let's go to some higher pings. And why not start out with the European servers? Jumping to the European servers and disabling exit lag felt weird. It did not feel good. I can say that. I absolutely started to feel this, and I've seen some friends who are playing with me across the pond have this 100+ millisecond ping, and yes, I absolutely felt this here. Everything felt like I was playing kind of through like OBS. Like everything felt like I was having to aim a little bit more in front of people than I would have normally. I was having to sleep targets a little bit sooner than I would have normally. I still ended up taking this game, but it was mostly due to the fact that I didn't really need to do a whole lot. However, if I was the one carrying that game, I 100% would have been on a disadvantage. Unfortunately, I didn't get any key moments where I was able to tech, like we checked with the Doctor Strange earlier, like the absolute down to the wire sort of kills and such. It didn't quite end up happening, but it definitely felt like I had higher ping. So competitively, yeah, not ideal, but manageable would be what I would say. But I have to make it worse for myself for the sake of science. Next, we jumped over to the Asian servers. Oh boy. Everything had a delay. Absolutely every single shot. I would fire 4, I would count a second, and then those 4 shots would go through. Maybe. I would have absolutely lost this game, or at least I would have lost the first zone, had I not been getting carried by somebody who was local, playing an absolutely insane Hawkeye. Like, this dude was so freaking cracked. I don't know what they're feeding them over on those Asian servers, but this dude was playing out of his freaking mind. 30 final blows, of course, through my help with the damage bonus and the healing. But yeah, I 100% would have lost this game because we got collapsed on many times. My team was being way too damn aggressive. We would have lost this one. So this ping is where it starts to get bad. And I think I'm a little bit privileged because I have gigabit internet. I'm already spending a fair portion of money on the more expensive internets. But if I didn't have that, if I was playing with a more standard ping, and this was even close to what I was using, I would be begging for any solution to this. This feels awful. I could not play competitively with this. It would be constantly frustrating. But it gets worse. Because I don't know when to stop, I thought to myself, what if I go for the highest ping possible? And I jumped over to the Middle Eastern servers, which is a little bit worse. First off, the match took a lot longer to load, but I think that's just because there's not as many players in the Middle Eastern servers. But I eventually was able to load into a game. You see what's happening, right? Please help me. Everything sucked. If it was bad on the Asian servers, it was even worse on the Middle Eastern servers. Everything felt like it was a GIF or GIF or whatever you want to call it. Everything felt like it was looping. Everyone was rubber banding. Everything took a solid 1.5 seconds for anything to happen. I would never be able to do anything hyper precise with this. I was very thankful Mantis just auto locks onto targets for heals and damage boost. It was difficult to track targets down with my primary attack, and if I was doing anything with the DPS, never would that have worked. Absolutely not. If you're playing with this ping, please stop. I think you might be just better off playing with bots, because this was awful. I would not wish this on my worst opponent. I would not wish this on anybody. I don't think that you could ever do anything competitively with this. This absolutely sucked. Despite that, somehow, I still got MVP. I don't know if I'm just cracked on mouse and keyboard, but just still, it ended up working out. I think primarily it was just the character I was playing and my positioning. But had I needed to lock in and land even more precise shots, never would that have worked. It was an absolute struggle. So then, I've been using exit lag for good, and I was curious if I could use this service for evil. And what I mean by that is giving myself an even worse connection, because you can manually set this if you're an intelligent or unintelligent human being in my case. So that's what I did. I set it to an Australian server and then reconnected on Marvel Rivals back to a Middle Eastern position. So the idea is that I'm having to ping to 2 literally different continents. And this is what surprised me. So, obviously, I'm sponsored to do this video, right? But legitimately and genuinely, I was impressed. Like, they're not paying me to say that part. I was genuinely impressed. Look at the game. You're seeing it for yourself. Yeah, I was still experiencing a lot of delay, but look how smooth it is, right? Like, you're seeing this too. Obviously, this is not ideal. No one would ever do this to themselves. I'm intentionally trying to give myself a Foley Nelson here, but it was smooth. I was expecting this to be an unplayable mess, and I was just going to have a little bit of a laugh about it and be, okay, now, here, go plug the exit lag sponsor. And, the service actually is quite good. I've been enjoying it, and I've been using it anytime I play on PC. But it's smooth. It's so weird in a great way. So, all that to say, if you want to get 50% off either for you, a duo, or a squad, they have an annual subscription that they're offering right now. If you use my link in the description, it'll also be available in the pinned comments. Legitimately, this service is probably going to be your next best friend, especially if you are experiencing latency. It's so smooth. Again, I know they're paying me, but dude, I'm genuinely impressed by this. Actually, bottom of my heart, impressed that I had higher ping and a smoother connection than I did just running it raw. So there you go. Does ping impact gameplay? Yes, obviously. And I think the cutoff point is right around the 150 mark. At that point, it basically becomes you are no longer playing the game, you are suggesting the game. But any less lag absolutely will matter, just like was shown with the Doctor Strange. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. Check out the sponsor in the comments below. They really do help us out a lot. They keep the channel afloat. Bless your faces and deuces.